guys, welcome back to part 7, I'm pretty sure, of the Learn React series. And in this part, we're going to be talking once again about use effects, but specifically how to fetch from an API. So in this part, I already talked about what we're going to be talking about, but before we start, you have to have some basic setup ready. So you need to have state imported and use effect, of course, those two hooks. And we're gonna start off by putting a piece of state. Actually, we're gonna start off by adding a use effect. So we already talked about the basic syntax of use effect. And then now we'll have our arrow function here pointing to the stuff inside. Perfect. And we want this use effect to run when our web application starts up. So we'll just put a pair of brackets. Now in here we have to have all of our code to fetch from our API. Now before we do that, we're gonna create a variable that's gonna store our URL. We're gonna call it URL, and we're gonna set it equal to the API. And this is the API. And what this API does is it gives you a random dog image. So in our use effect, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fetch. By the way, this is fetch API's stuff. If you don't know the fetch API, I would recommend searching up on YouTube. There's tons of tutorials. Learn a little bit about it and come back. And so we're gonna fetch, and we're gonna pass in our variable URL, and then we're gonna use the then sequence, and we're gonna take our response res, and we're gonna have an arrow function here, and we're gonna do res dot JSON, and we're gonna have pair brackets right there because JSON's a function. Then we have one more dot then, and the dot then above where response.json, it returns something called data. We're gonna take that data, another arrow function, and we want to set data to something in a piece of state. So we'll create a piece of state up here, and we'll call this since it's about dogs, we'll call it dog pics. Here we have dog. We'll call it dog pic actually, and we'll have set dog pic as our method. Dog pic, perfect. We're gonna set this equal to use state, and actually just to make sure this all works out, we're gonna make our state equal to null because it has no value before anything else. We're gonna little error. Oh yeah, that's because we haven't defined our dot. Then for the data, we have our data, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our set dog pic method. Set dog pic, there it is, and we're gonna set it equal to data. Perfect. Now what error are we getting? Oh, we forgot a comma right there. Perfect. And now what we want to do is we want to display our dog pic with the image tag. We haven't talked about the image tag yet. Pretty small thing though. You just have your source and you set it equal to a string, but in our case we're setting it equal to the variable of, or the piece of state of dog pic, and we need to have an alt. We'll set that equal to dog pic, and now we can close that off. I'm pretty sure we should be good to go. Yeah, so just to review over the code, let me space it out a little bit. We create a variable called URL. We're fetching from this API, and we're using our use effect to fetch from the API, and then we're returning the data we get from the API into the dog state, and then the dog pic state, and then we're basically rendering that dog pic state onto the page. Now, just to show you what we get back from the API before we run any of this, I'm gonna comment some of this out, and I'm just gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna console.log what we get back. We'll also have console.log, and here we'll console.log dog pic. So now we got that set up. We're just gonna come in here and we're gonna inspect. And in the console, you can see we get this object, and the object has a URL inside of it. So this tells us we did something wrong because the API we're getting has a URL that has an object with multiple key value pairs. And the key of what we need is the URL. So look, we reload this every time we get a random dog pic, meaning the URL value changes. So instead of having data, we're gonna have to have data.url. We're gonna actually, we could just have data, and we could set the dog pic equal to data.url. Let's take a look at that, and there we go. We get just the link. So now when we add our code back here, I'm pretty sure the image, everything should work. Now, issue is this API doesn't just give back pictures of dogs. It also gives back MP4 files and GIFs. So not all the things are gonna show, but every time we reload this page, there's a good chance we'll either get an MP4 or a dog pic. The dog pic. Here we go. And these pics can be of any size. Of course, you can find a way to set that all up how you want to. But yeah. So this is like really basic, but this is how we work with APIs in React. And you can also use the .catch method in case you want to check for errors and stuff. But that's really simple. I feel like I'll leave a link to the React DOMs about that in the description, and you can check that out. Anyways, I'm gonna leave a link for the API in the description. If you want, you can try out some other stuff with the API. I'm also gonna leave a link to a GitHub page with a bunch of free APIs to use. Really great page. You want to like test out your React skills or even just your JavaScript skills. Go through a couple of APIs, make different projects. That's all you can do. So yeah, go ahead, give that a try, and I'll see you guys in pretty sure part 8. Peace.